How does United Nations law protect human rights? In a world where human rights violations make headlines daily, understanding how United Nations law protects these rights is more important than ever. Just yesterday, reports emerged about ongoing conflicts and their impact on civilian populations. Viewers may be asking, how does international law step in to safeguard human rights during such crises? The United Nations plays a vital role in this area through various frameworks and mechanisms. One of the core components is the Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols. These documents form the foundation of international humanitarian law. They are designed to protect civilians and prisoners of war during armed conflicts. The Geneva Conventions set out specific protections for both civilians and combatants. For example, they prohibit torture, hostage-taking, and violence against civilians. They also establish the principle of distinction. This principle requires parties in a conflict to differentiate between military targets and civilians. Only military targets can be attacked. The laws of armed conflict, also known as international humanitarian law, regulate how hostilities are conducted. They ensure that parties respect fundamental principles. These include the prohibition of unnecessary suffering and the protection of the wounded and sick. The United Nations has several mechanisms to protect civilians during war. One key body is the United Nations Human Rights Council. This council monitors and addresses human rights violations around the globe. It can pass resolutions to respond to specific situations and appoint special rapporteurs to investigate abuses. The United Nations Human Rights Council is tasked with strengthening the global promotion and protection of human rights. It addresses violations and situations of concern through resolutions and the work of special rapporteurs. The Council also supports human rights defenders and ensures state cooperation with its mechanisms. Moreover, the United Nations has various treaty bodies. These bodies monitor states' compliance with international human rights treaties. Special procedures, which include special rapporteurs and independent experts, investigate specific human rights issues or situations in countries. National mechanisms for implementation, reporting and follow-up are governmental structures that ensure compliance with international human rights recommendations. They work alongside national human rights institutions, which serve as watchdogs for human rights within countries. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights provides technical assistance to both national human rights institutions and national mechanisms for implementation, reporting, and follow-up. Overall, the United Nations protects human rights through a combination of international law, institutional mechanisms, and cooperation with national bodies. This framework is essential for ensuring that states respect and protect human rights, even amidst armed conflict.